Do you want to know?
Hello class, welcome back again to English with Geronimo. Now for today we are going to tackle about what are the elements of a story, or what are the contents or elements of the story that we need to know while we are reading. Now the elements of a story consist of a setting, characters, plots, and conflict. Now, in a setting, you need to know that this setting is about the time and the place the story takes place. In characters, the people, animals, or creature in a story. Now, in a plot, the series of events that make up a story, and conflict, a problem or struggle between two people, things, or ideas. Now, let's go first to setting. Now, as you can see, now setting, it means the place where the story happened. Now, the setting describes where and when the story takes place. It helps build background and create images in the mind. It helps set the tone or mood of the story. Now, details can also be described in the setting: time of day, time of year, time in history, scenery, and weather. Now, using the five senses, we could give a good setting that helps the reader visualize the places in the story. A good author includes also descriptions of the setting using the five senses. So we could use these five senses of sight, sense of smell, sense of taste, sense of feeling, and its sound. Now take a look. Which one is better? The castle was beside the water, or you could choose the waves crashed gently against the shoreline. The fog lifted lightly and the medieval castle came into view. It was a beautiful sight. The mist brushed my face and I could smell the scent of honey from stunning distance and taste the sea salt on my lips. Now, as you can see, it's very obvious that the second one is a better setting than the first one. Next. Now, let's have the characters. Now, we already have mentioned that characters, now in every story should have a characters. Now, characters are people. These are also animals or creatures. The protagonist is the good guy in the story or the characters. Now, protagonists are from ancient Greek, which means protagonistes, meaning one who plays the first part. It is also the main character, the central or primary figure, personal figure, of a literary, theatrical, cinematical, or musical narrative who enters conflict because of the antagonist. Now, these are the protagonists. Okay? Next. Let's have the antagonist. So antagonist is the bad guy or force in the story. So these are the bad guys. So antagonist from the Greek antagonistis, opponent, competitor, evil, enemy, or rival. Also, antagonist may also present or represents a major threat or obstacle to the main character by their very existence without necessarily deliberately targeting him or her. Okay, now these are the antagonists. Now let's proceed with the characterization. When we say characterization, it is the way in which the author shows the personality of a character. Characterization is a technique writers use to make characters come to life so that they would know wherever we are reading. Now think about your favorite book or movie character. How can you describe his or her appearance? What kind of personality does he or she have? What kind of things does he or she like? Now make a list of character traits for these characters. Now who are these characters in the picture? As you could see, okay. Next, characterization. Now when we say characterization, now characters are people or animals in a story. A writer can tell you directly about a character. Freddy was very competitive. Now, or you could write here, a writer can tell you indirectly about a character. For example, 2 days before the game, Freddy gathered his teammates and laid out his plan. Then he looked at them and said, "We are going to win this one. No excuses." Next, we have direct characterization. When we say direct characterization, tells the readers the personality of the character. Direct characterization is obvious to the reader and spells it out right. Now, example, the patient boy and the quiet girl were both well behaved and did not disobey their mother. Next, we have indirect characterization. When we say indirect characterization, it shows things that reveal the personality of the character. So let's memorize this acronym. STEAL, we have S for speech, T for thought, E effect on others, A actions, and L looks. Now, when we say characterization, what does the character say? How does the character speak? What is revealed through the character's private thoughts and feelings? What are the character's effects on others? How do other characters feel or behave in reaction to the character? What does the character do? Does he or she behave? What does the character look like or dress like? So these are some of the characterizations. Okay? So, next, we have foreshadowing. When we say foreshadowing, or this is the guessing ahead, is a literary device which or by which an author hints what is to come in. It is used to avoid disappointment, sometimes used to arouse the readers. Now, this is a foreshadowing. If it if this isn't it, I don't know what is. Mhm. So next we have character traits. Character traits are descriptive adjectives that tells us specific qualities of a character. For example, honest, light-hearted, expert, brave or excited, studious, inventive, bright, courageous, serious, unselfish, self-confident, humble, friendly, ambitious, able, and such adjectives or descriptive adjectives that you could use as the qualities of a character. Next is the theme. So what is the theme? The theme is the central idea or belief in a short story. The most common contemporary understanding of theme is an idea or point that is central to a story, which can often be summed in a single word. For example, love, death, betrayal, and the most common contemporary understanding of theme is an idea or point that is central to a story, which can often be summed in a single word. So, as what I have mentioned earlier. So, next we have the plot. Plot meaning, okay, so we have here a triangular figure of a plot. So plot is the events that take place in a story. So every story needs a plot. Remember that. The plot has different parts. So first, or the beginning, is the exposition, followed by the rising action, and then the middle would be the climax, and let's go to the falling action, and going to the end of the story or the resolution. So plot components, just remember this pyramidal figure. So exposition meaning the start of the story before the action starts. Next, we go up to the rising action, the series of events and conflicts in the story that leads to the climax. And the climax is the turning point, the most intense moment, either mentally or in action. Then going to falling action, all of the action which follows the climax. And lastly, we have the resolution or the conclusion in the tying together of all the threads or the end of the story. Now, the climax from the Greek word climax, meaning staircase or the ladder or turning point of a narrative work, is its point of the highest tension or drama. Now, special techniques of plot. We have here suspense, excitement or tension, flashback interrupts the normal sequence of events to tell about something that happened in the past. We have surprise ending, conclusion that reader does not expect, and also foreshadowing. Now, what is a conflict? Now, conflict creates tension and interest in a story by adding doubts as the outcome. A narrative is not limited to a single conflict, while conflicts may not always resolve in narrative. The resolution of a conflict creates closure, which may or may not occur at the end or the end of the story. Now, we have here the conflict. As you can see, when we say conflict, it is the battle between two forces. It isn't always bad. Sometimes it helps to create change. Without conflict, there is no plot. So there are types of conflict that we have. We have number one, character versus character. No problem with another character, as you can see here in the picture. Now this is the number one type of conflict. Next, number two type of conflict, we have the character versus the nature. Now the problem here is with the force of nature, as you can see on the pictures. Now these are the types of conflicts: character versus character and character versus nature. Next, we have number three, character versus society. The problem with the laws or beliefs of our group, character versus community, society, or culture. And number four, we also have character versus self. The problem with deciding what to do or think, or the inner conflict. You're having conflict with yourself. So we have character versus society and character versus self problem. So that's it for today. Thank you again for another or watching for another video tutorial with English with Geronimo. See you again next time. Bye.